Hello friends, welcome to CCA live webinar. Myself Hermes and Register Migration Agent CCA. In this webinar, I'm going to discuss various employer-sponsored visas categories, uh, the eligibility of those visas, the requirements and how to apply, and other various regulations and another eligibility process that associated with those employer-sponsored visas, and what is the benefit of these employer-sponsored visas to those applicants who are really waiting for their permanent residency in Australia. Uh, Before going to start the today's live webinar on employer sponsorship schemes, I would like to give you a recent update from Department of Home Affairs and the federal government. So the government passed legislation recently in the parliament regarding the ART process. ART, which is generally review the visa application which are processed by Department of Home Affairs whose visa is cancelled or refused for any reason, and applicant goes to ART for their review. So because of the huge backlog with the ART, so ART decided to process these application faster or to overcome the backlog. Now they decided to process the applications which are specially for the temporary visa applications. They're going to process this application without hearing. So what it means, they will not call the applicant for the hearing process. The member will give the decision on the basis of the evidences and the submission you supplied when apply for the ART review. So there is no need to worry about that. So no need to panic. But the main thing is now whenever you lodging your review application, it's better to apply the review to the ART with proper evidences, recent documents, and the most important thing, the submission. So your submission must be evidented with the recent evidences, what you're going to claim, your claim for your visa that was refused or cancelled by the department. And that submission must be evidence with the latest migration regulations and act, so that they can support your application for the ART review and can convince the member to give you the decision in your favor. So that's why I always recommend you have to talk with your migration agents or lawyers and whoever submitted your application or who are going to submit their application. So always make a strong submission, because it is very, very important for the member to give the decision, whatever you're going to submit and whatever you're going to claim in the submission. So if you need assistance, if you need to make a strong submission, so you can do contact with our CC office, or you can directly contact me. Our number are displayed on the screen. So this was the biggest recent update about the Australian migration. And the second update is, so invitation round will going to start soon. So stay tuned. So definitely all state will going to have next invitation round soon for 190 and 491. Now, let's start with today's webinar. The topic is employer-sponsored visas. So what is the employer-sponsored visas? The employer-sponsored visas basically visas which you applied with the help of your employer, wherever you're working or wherever you're going to work. So you need a sponsor for this category of visas. And these visas are very helpful for those applicants who are waiting for their permanent residency, have not received any invitation yet to lodge skill visas in Australia. and their current temporary visa going to expire. So this is the second backup step. If you have employer and he willing to support you, so you can apply these visas to extend your stay in Australia and to gain work experience in Australia, and also transit to the permanent residency in Australia. So these employer sponsored visas enables Australian businesses to sponsor skilled overseas worker to fill roles in which suitable Australian citizen and permanent residents are not available. What it means? That your employer have to demonstrate that for a particular position within the organization, so the suitable Australian citizen or permanent resident are not available, so that's why they're going to sponsor you. So I will give detail all of this process, which is called labor market testing, in detail in the next slides. So basically these visas are employer sponsored visas to assist you to apply for next temporary or permanent stay in Australia. So there are different kinds of employer sponsored visas available in Australian migration. Basically the four major visas categories are subclass 482, which is a temporary visa; subclass 486, which is a permanent visa; subclass 494 it is also a temporary visa, and it is just like a 482 visa, but it is a regional employer based visas, and few other requirements different to 482. And one category is training visa 407, which is again a temporary visa. So out of these four visas, the 482 and 491 having the PR pathway for in terms of 186, but the training visa 407 it itself not having a permanent residency pathway, but this visa assists you to move forward for your permanent residency in terms of employment experience. And it's not always possible to claim employment experience on 407 visa, but still it all depends upon your training plan. So if you wisely moved on this visa and the training plan is structured, prepared to enhance your skills, you can claim that experience towards your next visa, either for 482, 186, or 494. So let's discuss in detail for these visas. So let's start with the 482, which is called skill in demand visa. So this visa having various categories like core skill list, core skill streams, specialist skill streams, and labor agreement. So there are three streams, but the basic process to apply under any stream, so each stream has their own eligibility. So in whatever stream you are eligible for, the basic step is same. The main visa process is divided into three categories: SBS, which is a standard business sponsorship, nomination, and visa. So out of these three steps, first two steps are carried out by your employer: SBS and nomination. So SBS is a sponsorship application which employer lodge for their organization to sponsor overseas worker. So for these applications, the employer roving, they are legally operating in Australia and need to nominate employees for visas. So usually this sponsorship is granted for 5 years and can review later on. So whenever you lodge any nomination and visa application, the first step is to lodge the standard business sponsorship application. So you can lodge next nomination and visa applications when you lodge SBS application during the process, or you can, even if the SBS is already approved, then it is easy to move forward for nomination and visa application. So this SBS process is done by the employer. The second stage comes after SBS, when employer lodges the SBS application for you, not for you, even for their organization. The next step is they eligible to lodge nomination for any employee they're going to sponsor. So nomination stage is the backbone of all this visa process. It is a very, very important stage. So during nomination, the employer have to conduct labor market testing, which I discussed in the beginning of this session, that it's a very important step. The employer have to demonstrate that he going to uh, recruit a overseas applicant for that position for which Australian citizen or permanent residents are not available. So to demonstrate this genuine intention to recruit overseas worker, he need to go for the labor market testing. So, and the occupation for which they're going to nominate the position, that has to be on the skill occupation list, which is specially designed for subclass 4A2 visa, and same list also applicable for further 186 visa as well. So employer has to show their financial ability to nominate a overseas worker, and they have to offer the salary. It is the requirement of the nomination that they're going to offer a salary which meeting the TASMIT level in Australia, and which is currently is 76,515, which will increase from last July. So all these steps are carried out during the nomination process. And when employer do the nomination process, he make the labor market testing, and then third stage is to lodge the visa application. Now applicant is ready to lodge visa application for the subclass 482 visa. So there are certain requirements to lodge 482 visa, like age. There is no age restriction in this visa. English requirement, yes, there are. So you must have minimum of 5 overall, 5 in English, and even 6 each in English. There are some concession if you're going towards labor agreement stream, but otherwise, if you're going in the general stream or specialist stream, then the minimum requirement you have to go for 5 each or equivalent. Equivalent means nowadays whoever given the test after 7th of August 2025, they have to give, if we are going for the PTE test, then it should be 33, 36, 29, 24, which is reading, writing, reading, speaking, and what the fourth module is: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So the first two are reading and listening, third is writing, and fourth is speaking. Similarly, if you go for the TOEFL IBT, then it is again for all these modules 8, 8, 9, 14. And just make sure if you're going for the TOEFL, it has to be specially for Australian migration. They recently changed that rule. You can't go for the general test. And qualification requirements, you must have relevant qualifications, either certificate 3, 4, diploma, or higher level of qualification, and must have 1 year of experience in your nominated occupation. So this 1 year of experience is never waived off. So it is very mandatory requirements. So if you're meeting all these requirements, then you are eligible to lodge these visas. But before this visa eligibility, another important things are sponsorship and nomination. All eligibility must have met before you be granted this visa, employer sponsored visa subclass 482. Now move on to the second visa subclass. Before going, let me tell you a little bit more about the labor market testing, which I mentioned at the nomination stage. So during the labor market testing, which is conducted by the employer, they have to advertise the job, whatever they're going to nominate for what that occupation. The advertisement must be posted for at least 2 different platforms, and each must be live for the minimum of 28 consecutive days within the last 4 months. So you have to lodge nomination within 4 months from the start of the advertisement. And that advertisement, it is very, very important that have to be minimum of 28 days continuous. If sometime the employer, what they do, they lodge the advertisement for 14 days, which is free of cost on some website, and then uh, it sees, and then again they relodge on the same days, and then again 14 days, which is not acceptable. It has to be continuous, minimum of 28 days uh, on various platforms. Minimum 2 platforms are accepted. And second important thing, whatever job going to advertise, that must have job titles, duties mentioned on the advertisement, and the required skill and qualifications must be mentioned, the name of the employer or the agency, the salary range, whatever salary employer going to nominate, not, I can say that in the advertisement, nominate whatever salary they're going to advertise for a particular Australian worker or the temporary resident worker. And most importantly, employer must assess all applicants and justify hiring the nominated overseas worker over the local permanent resident or Australian citizens. LMT exemptions may apply. It depends upon the international trade obligations and labor agreements, but it is always recommended if employer go for the labor market testing for mainly the normal stream and the specialist stream they're going for. Our next visa subclass is 186. It is second stage of subclass 482 visa. So if you are on 482 visa, you easily can transit to subclass 186 visa. This visa having 2 streams. One is TRT, temporary resident transition streams, and one is direct entry stream. So let's talk about the TRT stream first. So under this TRT stream, if you are on 482 visa and you are holding this visa for last 2 years, and your employer, the same employer who sponsored you for 482 visa, can also sponsor you for further 186 visa after 2 years. So the minimum eligibility is you have to work for that employer on 482 visa, or you can work with 2 different or 3 different employers, but their sponsorship, their nomination have to be approved. The last employer for who we are working with, and if you're going to sponsor you for further 186 visa, under they can sponsor you under TRT stream. So when you're meeting the 2 year of uh, work experience requirement on 482 visa. This is the first major requirement, and another one is IELTS. You must have at least 6 each or equivalent in all the modules of English test. And age restrictions are there for 186 visa. So you must be under 45 year of age when you're going to apply. There are some age concession available if the employer is sponsoring you under labor agreement or under DAMA scheme. So the employer, whenever they're going to nominate you for 186 TRT stream, they must demonstrate that they have genuine need for the nominated position. They have the genuine financial capacity to employ the nominee, and they have to give you the market salary rate that meet the TASMIT, which is a minimum of 76,005 or 115 per year. So this is the TRT stream. Let's move on to the next stream, which is 186 direct entry stream. Again, all these streams require the employer sponsorship. Under this stream, you have to meet minimum of 3 years of work experience. It is not mandatory. You have to do the work experience with the same employer who is going to sponsor you. If you have previous work experience with different employers and you're meeting the 3 year of eligibility, you have the skill assessment, you have the competent English, then you eligible to apply this visa subclass 186 direct entry stream. Uh, Again, for this stream, like 482 visa, you don't need to lodge the standard business sponsorship application for the employer. Only nomination and visa process is there. During nomination, the LMT is not mandatory, but the department asks for annual market rate survey. So how you calculated the rate for that particular position, they're going to nominate you. So we always recommend to the employer, they definitely proceed with the LMT, labor market testing, before apply nomination for this visa subclass. So the requirements are same for other streams. The occupation must be on the skill occupation list, and applicant have 3 years of work experience and having a skill assessment in that particular occupation. And English requirements again 6 each, so must have competent English to apply under this subclass. And most importantly, age. So the nominee must be under 45 years of age. Age exemption again, like TRT, they depend upon the labor agreement. So these are the main employer-sponsored visa under which the PR pathways is there. There is one more important employer-sponsored visa is there, which is subclass 407. It is a training visa. So this visa allow individual to undertake occupational training and professional development in Australia. So as the name suggests, this visa basically introduced to train overseas skilled worker or to enhance their skill in a particular area if they have previous work experience and related qualification in that occupation. So this visa is usually grant up to 2 years. There is no direct PR pathway. One can support future skill visa applications. So can support 482, 494, 186 visa application. So you can apply this visa under various category. So like type 1 category is occupational training for registration and licensing. So some occupation require license. For example, electrician, plumber, they require license. So sometimes they have to go for the training to obtain those licenses. So this visa is applicable for such categories. And second one, occupation training to enhance skill. If someone want to enhance their skill in a particular field in their occupations, like in IT, if you're working and you want to enhance your skill in a different field like artificial intelligence or cyber security, which is quite common nowadays. So that's how to enhance your skills. So this is the second category you can apply under. And third one is professional development, so which is a classroom-based training program designed for overseas professional, typically from government or large corporate background organizations. They conducted this sort of training. So whatever occupation you're going to train for yourself and your employer willing to support you to enhance your capabilities, so this visa is for you, 407 training visa. So like 482 visa, this visa again having the 3 stages: sponsorship, nomination, and visa. But this sponsorship is little bit different from the standard business sponsorship. Employer have to go for approved temporary activity sponsorship, which is called TAS. And they have to lodge this application like SPS with the Department of Home Affairs. And the sponsoring organization, they must be actively and lawfully operating in Australia. And like SPS, the sponsorship, the sponsorship approval is valid for up to 5 years, and which allow to organization to sponsor multiple nomination during that 5 year period, and again can renew their sponsorship in future. So nomination stage, the second one, this is again done by the employer. So it required for each applicant, unless the sponsor is a government entity, in which case nomination have to be lodged. And this nomination must include a detailed and structured training plan, which is very important for the nomination stage. The employer have to prepare a well-structured training plan for the duration they're going to sponsor a particular applicant. Uh, and that training plan must be signed and detailed by the employer and must be supplied with the nomination application. And the training must be full-time, supervised, and designed to provide genuine skill development and relevant occupation. So after doing this sponsorship and nomination program, the third stage is the visa application. The applicant, when he going to launch the application, there are few requirements for this training visa subclass, like English requirement. The applicant must have at least functional English, which is equivalent to IELTS score of over a 4.5 or PT 30, and the validity of training visa is up to 2 years. It is depends upon the sponsor and your training plan, how long they're going to train you. It could be for 1 year, it could be for 6 months, and could be up to maximum of 2 years. And it is a temporary visa, and applicant going to stay temporarily while they granted this visa, and they have to engage in those activities. It's a strict requirement of this visa. So whatever activity this visa is granted for, you have to indulge in that activity. You can't do any other job when this visa is granted. And you can include your dependent on this visa subclass, but the secondary applicants, if they are over 18s, and they will have only 40 hours per fortnight of work right. They will not have the full working right on this visa. But primary applicant, yes, they will have the full working right. So these are the mainly employer-sponsored visas, the requirement of these visas, how these visas are applied, and what is the requirement for sponsor for this visa. And we discuss all these steps around. So again, I am repeating this. This is the special benefit from the Australian government. If you are not getting invitation for skill visas, still waiting for the invitation, and your visa going to expire, then definitely you should consider this option. If you're working on a particular occupation, you have the work experience at least 1 year, so then you still have the opportunity to go for these employer sponsored visa categories. So some visas having 1 year of work experience, some having 3 years of work experience. So it's all depends visa to visa. So, but there is still a hope. You still can transit to your permanent pathway, and without going on any skill visas or invitation on state nomination, wait for the state nomination, you can directly, with the help of your employer, can proceed for the permanent residency in Australia. If you need any assistance, you can contact us, your nearest CCA office, or you can call me directly. My number is displayed on the screen, and you can send us the email or through our web page. Any whatever convenient to you, please do contact us. Or if you want us to talk with your employer to sponsor you, so definitely we can assist you throughout all the process. Now I'm going to conclude the session. One of our client, Madhuka, she asked a question. Do we need to have related qualification for 407? Madhuka, the requirement for 407 is either you have relevant qualification for that occupation, but if you don't have relevant qualification, you must have work experience in that qualification. Then you'll be eligible to apply for this visa. For example, you're working as a cook. So if you're working as a cook from last 3 years, then you don't need any qualification in that sector. You're still eligible on the basis of work experience. You're still a qualified chef, cook. because you worked 3 years in that occupation. So definitely then you'll be eligible to apply for 407 training visa if you have this work experience, and you must have 1 year of work experience within last 2 days, 2 years. So what should be the minimum duration of the work experience? As I said, the minimum duration is 1 year if you have qualification. If you don't have qualification, then the minimum requirement is 3 years, because only then you'll be a qualified cook. So any other question if anybody have? Thanks, Madhuka. So if anyone have any question, please contact us or send us through our web page, or direct, you can WhatsApp us or through email us. So thank you very much for today, and I'm going to conclude it today. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your support.